Hello everyone, Mrs. MLG here from Mighty Lancer Games, and today I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of me painting some very easy and fast beginner-friendly terrain. So this is how it started out. So that has some black primer. Mr. MLG sprayed this, but I do also like to use the Reaper brush on black primer, but with this being quite big, he did spray it for me, so that's very kind of him, isn't it? The Colour Forge matte black spray primer is very good and is the one that we use here at home. And I am going to use this as well as these. So I'm going to use some Reaper Greys, and I really like the turf green from Reaper 09481, obviously available from Mighty Lancer Games. But basically, grey and green. You could use any grey and green that you have. I'm also going to use these two because I have them. So thick mud and ground texture. But again, not entirely necessary. We'll have a little chat about what else we could use. And I'm going to use some Kodama woods, and I'm going to use some Javis coarse grass. Again, all these can be substituted for things that you already have, or you can get them from Mighty Lancer Games, of course, if you want to use exactly the same. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want this piece of terrain to look lighter than it is. So I'm going to use old brushes. This is my old brush for putting on the basing materials, so we don't need that one yet. But I'm going to use these two, the Citadel dry medium brushes, to do a bit of dry brushing type to get the grey on. It's going to be messy, but it's absolutely fine because it's just quick terrain so that you can get painting. So I'm going to pick the darker of my greys. I do also have a really dark one. We'll go for the really dark one to start off with and see if it's too dark to even be noticeable, or if it's actually going to work. It's blocked as always. Everything I try and do is always blocked. So let's do a little quick. What do we do then? So we can use a pokey tool, a design specially pokey tool, or you can use a pin. Now if it's still being silly, you can just pull the top off there like that. Did you see? If it's got some gunk in there that you need to clean out, and you can also use that to put in some mixing balls, and then it just pops back on like that. Give your paint a good shake, splodge some out onto my palette, and then we're going to see, grey on me now, I'm going to see if it's too dark or if it will work. So I'm going to get some grey, and I'm going to use my blue roll. I'm going to take most of the paint off, and then if you dry brushing and you keep everything in the same direction. Now you will notice that I don't do this eventually because I forget, but also because what we're doing here is just some quick terrain. It's supposed to look maybe not quite symmetrical and perfect. So this is all I'm going to do, is get rid of that black, basically. Lighten it up with greys. So we've given that a go over with the dark grey. If you wanted to, you could always start with a dark grey spray base. But I just always like starting with black. I think I like the added shadows. Now I want it to be even lighter than this. So we're going to go for the next slightly lighter grey that we've got, which happens to be cloudy grey. But again, you can just use any greys that you have. Now I have still got in here some some of the darker grey. So I'm just going to stick it on top. Oh, it's blocked as well. If you find that you have put a little bit too much on, you haven't rubbed enough off, or you're not happy, just rub some more off on your paper and then go back over it while it's still wet and move it around to where you want it. Now I want to have a little tiny bit of a lighter, so I'm going to see what some Ushanti bone looks like as well. So we're just going to get most of it off because I don't want it to be massively stark against it. And then very lightly, all we're doing is picking up the edges just to give it a tiny bit lighter on those edge bits. Now the reason we were using Ushanti bone, which is like a creamy colour, rather than white, is because white's very stark against this and we wanted more of a natural colour. And I'm also using it straight onto the same bit of wet cloth that still has a bit of grey on it, so we can smoosh it around and get a bit of grey at the same time. Now wait until it dries and see how you feel, whether you want more lighter colours, darker colours. See how you feel about it once it's dry, because it always looks different when it's actually dry. While we're waiting for that to fully dry, I'm going to wash my brush. Now I have washed it in the clean water that I've got and wiped it on a clean cloth, but there is always stuff stuck, paint stuck further down. So I use hand sanitizer, and can you see instantly the paint that didn't come out in the water, and I'd rinsed it well in the water, gets lifted out by the hand sanitizer. Can you see all of that that's come out? All of that paint that would have got left in there and made my brush rubbish. Now these are my old brushes anyway, but still don't need them to be really bad, do we? So that's got more paint out by using the hand sanitizer. Then we're going to move on to turf green. I'm just going to use the turf green to kind of add some extra details, some extra colours. I'm going to get rid of most of it off of my brush, and then I'm just going to decide randomly where to add some of this green to give more definition and maybe the idea of moss and things growing on my rocks. I'm kind of stabbing it really rather than brushing it up, just stabbing it on, stippling. You can get stippling brushes, but I'm just using the dry brush to do the same thing. Once you're happy with that, then I'm going to use some of the thick mud from Vallejo and some of the asphalt from Green Stuff Wales. Now there are different types if you wanted to try something different. This is the black mud one, and they're kind of thick and gloopy and have textures in them. So I'm going to use that just for some added texture. So I'm just going to pop it around where I think would be more of a texture on the terrain, just to add some extra elements. And when you're happy with those placements, I'm going to add some of the Kodama woods. Now, I really like this basing material. Again, you can get it from mightylancergames.co.uk because it's got lots of interesting bits in it. So it's got actual bits of wood and like soil type, and then there's also some bit of foam green. And I think it looks really cool. I do really like this mix. So that's the Krautcover Kodama woods. And I'm going to use just ordinary PVA glue. And we're literally just going to blather bits on where we feel it might look cool. So there's probably going to be some soil stuck to the top up there, just picking it up with my really old brush that only gets used for gluing things. It doesn't get used for actually painting anymore. Again, there's no precision with this, as you can see. It's just there would probably be some soil and some debris around down here, so that's where it's going to go. Then after that, we're going to use some Javis coarse grass just to add some brighter sections to it, just wherever you feel like it. Now this does kind of leave a smeary pattern if you want it to. You can smear it around and the bright green kind of comes off. It does, I think, look like something's creeping upwards. And again, it's just lots of fun, isn't it? Making a mess. You could be more precise, absolutely, if you wanted to, but I don't. Also, when it's far away on a tabletop, if you are more subtle, you won't see as much. When you're playing your game, you're stood up, or even if you sat down, they're further away at the terrain pieces than when you're painting. So everything looks smaller and not quite as in your face as it does right now. So there you go, super fast, easy and quick terrain. And just so you can get playing on your tabletop, you can give it a spray over with some varnish if you're worried about bits and pieces falling off. But I hope you have enjoyed that one. As you can see, I went slightly more overboard on the one I've just shown you to the one I did earlier. A bit more subtle, that one. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below if you have, or if you're going to give it a try. Because, like I say, it's just a quick, super fast, beginner's ideas for getting your terrain done and on the tabletop. Thanks again for watching, and remember to get all your hobby and gaming supplies from mightylancergames.co.uk and in our Bridlington shop. Take care, everybody.